Mitch, why'd you miss the game the other day?
Rested.
Okay. Yep. How's the body?
All right. I lost that argument.
Right, so you wanted to play?
Yeah, the World Cup game. Yeah, it was. I mean, the way we started the campaign meant that we couldn't rest anyone earlier in the campaign. Obviously, being 0-2 and had the chance, obviously, with securing the semi-final spot the other night. So Glenn, after his knock, and his cramping, needed a bit of a rest, and I didn't have much of a say in my decision. I sort of carried a few things from the Ashes, and it was a chance to give it an extra little chance before the semi-finals.
Those few things, as much as you kind of want to talk about it, this must have been a grueling 5 weeks or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, it's been quite busy. I mean, the guys that were in Africa as well. I think we counted something like it was our 15th flight of the World Cup, or since we've been in India, was last night. So it's for the guys that are in Africa as well. It's been quite a jam-packed sort of 10, 11 weeks. But it's World Cups. It's what we play for. We're at the pointy end. Seem to be peaking at the right time, which Australia tend to do in tournament play. And whilst we didn't start the way we wanted to, we've certainly had a lot of good contributions from individuals along the way, and we find ourselves in another World Cup semi-final.
You've had 2 tremendous World Cups in the previous 2 World Cups you've played. This one you've struggled in terms of your numbers anyway. I mean, what do you put that down to?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at purely at numbers, there's been a lot of guys across a lot of teams probably not have the same numbers as they would have liked. Probably had to try and impact in different ways. I think if we've looked at some of the grounds we've played at, certainly some of the games on TV, the wickets have certainly been 2 very different wickets through the day and through the night. None more than probably Mumbai. If you're looking at stats alone there as well. Certainly been more beneficial to swing the ball and nip the ball in the second innings when the sun's gone down and the wicket's sort of been under lights a little bit. Pat hasn't been on the right end of a few tosses as well. So I think there's a lot of contributing factors. Speed's not the be-all and end-all over here in India as well. So certainly how you go about tactically and whether it's variations or what time you bowl through a game or whether you win or lose the toss. I think a lot of things contribute to that and certainly haven't been probably at the level that I would have liked as well. So I certainly take some on myself there that well, not to the same level as the last 2 World Cups anyway. So but now a chance at the pointy end to I guess impact again.
How difficult has it been just bowling with the new ball, Mitch? Like a lot of guys have done well, say leave India apart. The fast bowlers have done better, like in the middle overs, like even Pat, for example. So how challenging has it been with the new ball?
Yeah, I think on particular wickets or again on different whether you bat or bowl first, certainly bowling first on particular wickets. The new ball, I think, with two fielders out, it's been almost sometimes the hardest time to bowl. You get a bit of an understanding of the wickets whilst the game goes on and whether they slow up or the ball gets softer. So that's not a sob story. It's just like that's the nature of one-day cricket at the minute. You've got 2 brand new balls on flat wickets. I think that's the nature of the World Cup. If you look at the runs scored or certainly the century scored as opposed to 5 wickets taken, the ratios are heavily skewed. So, but that's the nature of the World Cup. Certainly on the wickets over here, and bowlers just have to find a way and get used to it.
Has there been anything to do with the balls themselves? Do you think the ball's changed at all in one-day cricket in recent times, or it's pretty similar?
I still think it should be 1 ball, not 2.
What makes you say that?
The ball stays harder for longer. As we've seen here, the grounds are quite small, wickets are flat. If anything, in world cricket, wickets have gotten flatter, and I think if you look at some of that old footage where they play with 1 ball, reverse swing comes into it a lot more. That actually brings the bowlers back into the game, and I don't think there's any secret that one-day cricket and probably T20 cricket as well was the baddest game, and bowlers just have to hang on.
Because Brett Lee's favourite weapon was that reverse swinging Yorker of the death, wasn't? You're a big Yorker man, so you'd obviously love that same scenario. Yeah,
it'd be nice. Whether it changes or not, probably might be a change after I'm finished, but yeah, look, it definitely takes a little bit longer to find a reverse swing. It's not to say that it's all gone. There's certainly wickets or grounds that create can create that reverse swing. I think it just because of the two new balls at the start. I don't think the balls swing any longer. They certainly swing at the start, but unless conditions suit, they don't swing for very long at all. If anything, they stay nicer for batsmen towards the end. So with that one ball, obviously there's a chance to reverse. I think that the dew that we've seen at some of these grounds through the tournament as well contributes to potentially the lack of reverse swing with how wet some of the balls are getting. So yeah, a number of things, but in my opinion, I think one-day cricket should be one ball.
You spoke about the challenges of bowling with a new ball. Like, so how much is death bowling changed? Like, we're bowling with a ball which is 22, 23 overs old.
Yeah, you have to be a bit cagey about it, I think, trying to stay one step ahead. If it's not reversing, it's, you're trying to come up with ways on grounds that are quite small or wickets that are still pretty true. So, yeah, if you're bowling second, sometimes that ball gets softer quicker with the moisture out there with the dew, which can be harder to hit at the back end. It can be harder to grip, but it can be harder to bat. So, you take some, you lose some. Yeah, there's a number of different things there with if the ball's not shifting at the back end. Hopefully you've got a large total on the board and you're right.
Having said that, Mitch, so when you spoke about numbers and like numbers can be skewed in a tournament like this. So do you look back and like the over you bowled to Jimmy Neesham? I mean, the overall picture of this World Cup first year, that was a big crucial over and you got it right. So would you look at your performance in that sense?
Yeah, I certainly made it tough for myself with 4 out and 5 wides or whatever it was. Yeah, like I say, to me, numbers aren't everything. It's whether it's feel or different impacts. So yeah, that over was a nice one to close out. It's a role that I've played for a long time in one-day cricket. So to get it right in a World Cup game when it mattered was a nice one to achieve. But yeah, I think the overall fact that we're trending in the right way through this World Cup's a good place to be for this team.
You mentioned that Australian teams often peak at the right time of these kind of tournaments. Like, what's having played in a lot of World Cup finals, semis, big games, what's it actually like as an Aussie cricketer when you play in those games? Like, do you have like an extra belief that do you kind of know that you can go to another level?
Yeah, I hope so. It's not really something that's spoken about. It's just. I don't know. It's a very calm group, this one, and fairly experienced, I guess, with a couple of younger, less experienced guys, sort of gelling in really nicely. So it's not something that's really spoken about. People, like I said before, different individuals have stepped up at different stages, whether it be a 200-run partnership for the 9th, 8th wicket or whatever it was, or Mitchy Marsh coming and pummeling them the other day. So it's not been. Whilst we've had some outstanding individual numbers, I think we've had a lot of contributors, or a lot of contributors that probably don't show up on the raw numbers as well, which have impacted where we sit now, which is a semi-final.
Do you get more goosebumps thinking about having the new ball in your hand, bowling that first over on Thursdays than you would otherwise?
I haven't really thought about it yet.
Yeah. You should start.
Well, whether the goosebumps or not, no, it's just another game. So, yeah, I've played a lot of one-day cricket, so it's all cliches aside. It's another chance to play for Australia, which is always going to be special, whether it's a World Cup semi-final or game 1 of a bilateral series.
Going back to death bowling, Mitch, we spoke about the ball and what you can do, but from 2015 to now, like death overs batting has evolved as well, right? Like, how much more challenging has it become when players are almost more courageous and like they're playing shots all around the ground?
Yeah, they certainly are. It's see a lot more 360 players, I guess, if you want to call it that term. They're not afraid to move around the wicket. They're not afraid to try and hit Yorkers for 6 more often than not. The lap shot, the reverse lap shot, the whatever you want to call the shot. Yeah, it's created extra challenge, I guess. I've always seen it as I don't have a lot of variations. A lot of guys know what I'm going to do, but if I can execute it and they're still good enough to hit it, then fair play. So for me, it just comes back to execution, and some days batters are going to get the better of you, some days you'll get the better of them, and that's cricket. That's life.
Is it more difficult to bowl the Yorker? I mean, like, if that makes sense, like, because everybody's moving around?
I don't think it's still the same ball. Whether it's a wide Yorker, at stumps Yorker, slower Yorker. Jasper bowled pretty well last night, Yorkers, so it's not challenging him at the minute. I think for me, it's the way I've approached it is the stumps never move, the batters do. So just the change of perspective, I guess, if anything.
South Africa seem to be two completely different sides. The bat first, as opposed to when they bat second. Do you guys feel if you can put them under pressure that you might be able to sort of crack it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. The toss of the coin is obviously plays a part. It's not the be all and end all. We've won some games chasing this tournament, which is a big tick. They've certainly had their, like everyone, they've had challenges chasing at night time here in India. We certainly have as well. We haven't been to the KOLKATA yet this tournament, so we'll get our first look tonight to have a first assessment of the square and the ground. But yeah, I think it's pretty even keel. I mean, you could say the same if they put us under pressure, then in the same ballpark. So if we end up bowling first, we need to be mindful of that and have a plan of attack if the wicket doesn't quite suit that. Likewise, if we get to bowl second, whether dew comes into play. So as we stand here 2 days out or whatever it is, we'll come up with some assessments and the opposition and the ground and the conditions and go from there.
Because you've, like South Africa have got a great reputation over history as chokers in big games. Like they've never made a World Cup final. You guys have won 5 of them. You're played in a winning World Cup final. How much difference do you think that sort of pressure can make in a big game like this?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think looking back at 15, we probably thought they were the only team that could beat us. Certainly that stage of the tournament, and we didn't play them. So it's funny how now that we play everyone, and obviously they had the better of us in Lucknow early on in the tournament. We've probably both teams have kept a close eye on each other, and sort of from a few games back we knew we were probably going to face each other in a semi-final. So whether they feel differently, it's obviously been spoken about outside of their group. I don't know whether it's been inside, but they've had past players talk about it. I know they're a very different group certainly to 2015. So you can always read into these things as much as you like. For us, it's certainly talking and thinking about what we can do the right way, or how we can approach it, or our mindset to it, rather than what they're going to do so much. So I'm happy for you guys to make as much out of that as you like, but for us, it's certainly what we can do really well this week.
And what have you made of their fast bowlers? Are you someone who enjoys watching high quality fast bowling when Australia's not playing?
I don't watch much cricket, to be fair, so I was waiting for my bags last night, so I ended up watching the Indian game. So India have probably been the benchmark through the tournament. Their fast bowling attack have probably led the way, bowling first and second. South Africa certainly have a potent attack, and they're a team, the two teams that have played a lot against each other in the last 10 weeks. So I think both teams know what they're up against, certainly their bowling attack, and I no doubt that conditions are going to be very different to Lucknow as well. So all things factor into play here, and we'll see how we're placed, hopefully on the good end on Thursday night.
Sorry, in terms of the niggle, is it just the groin still, or is it something else?
I've had a few things, but that's fine. All good. It's from England, so it's all good.
Do you reckon it's had an impact on your overall bowling, your overall performance, that you haven't been able to sort of kill them like you did in the previous 2 World Cups? The niggles?
Oh, man, if I only played when I was 100%, I'd probably played 10 games. So I think all bowlers around the world deal with stuff. We just don't have to talk about it like batters do.
No dramas then for Thursday. You're good to go.
Fit to go.
Where are you with your one-day career now, Mitch? It's 3 World Cups in. Who knows what the future of one-day cricket is? Are you looking at these 2 games as, I don't know, potentially the last time you play one-day cricket, or you haven't thought about it?
I certainly have thought about it. No, I look to keep playing after this. I don't doubt that I won't be making the next World Cup. I have no vision for that. 4 years is a long time. I've always maintained that Test cricket's definitely the top of the tree for me, and I'll drop off the rest before I let go of Test cricket or where my body's at. So, for me, it's just another semi-final or another one-day game for Australia. it's not the end of the road in one-day cricket as yet for me anyway.